So without further ado, let us welcome our Naimah. Good morning, my sweetheart.
Good morning, Reverend Lisa. Thank you so much. Oh, you were so generous in all the things that you said, but you know that I love my LA Third Church family and all of you that have prayed for me, myself, and my family over the years and have always lifted me up. So I'm just really, really grateful for you all. So thank you, Reverend Lisa. It was lovely seeing you, Miss Brenda. Haven't seen you in such a long time. But anyway, I'm just so grateful for all of you. So today we are celebrating, yes, we are, Mother's Day month. And I want to just shout out to all of us that have stood in the gap, stepped in to assist people, whether they are biological children related to us, it just doesn't matter. Being a mother is an honor. To contribute to someone else's life is an amazing, amazing gift that we can give to others. So I just want to just shout out to all of you, even fathers or brothers, uncles, men that have contributed, nurtured our children. And they really, really need us. So anyway, just thank you for allowing me to come and share. And I'm humbled that I can come and say anything to you that would uplift you, inspire you, motivate you, and assist you to believe that you are an amazing, phenomenal, wonderful, incredible, extraordinary, uniquely created. There will never be anyone like you. There has never been anyone like you since the billions of years, millions of years that man has been on this planet. And I guarantee you that there will be never a person, not a quarter like you, not a hundredth like you. That is how unique you are. And what I've come here today to share with you, not only to accept and embrace your uniqueness, but you to celebrate you in your mothering, the things that you did, the things that you thought you wanted to do, all of that. I want you to come to peace, free yourself, knowing that you did the absolute best that you knew how to do, as we all do. As we bring these children into the world with no manual, doing exactly what our mothers taught us to do, and they did their best. So I want to thank Third Church, again, my family, for allowing me to come and share a message with you this morning. And like I said, I'm very honored and humbled to be here. I want to thank my family, East Coast, West Coast, my husband, my 3 daughters, my grandchildren, all of you for believing in me, assisting me, helping me, praying for me, and always seeing the best in me. I'm deeply honored and grateful. And my friends, and all the people that I have been a part of your life, what a joy you have been to me and contributed greatly to me on many, many levels, allowing me just another opportunity to share with you how wonderful you are and get you to accept it. Get you to accept your wonderfulness. You are fearless. You are amazing. And I want you to embrace that today. Any old memories, anything that you thought you should have, could have done, I want you to let that go into the nothingness from which it came. I also would love to thank right now, Reverend Lisa. Thank you, Reverend Lisa, for having faith in me, trust, and inviting me to come and be a part of another wonderful Mother's Day month. And for many of us, we can extend that throughout the year. And we really need to do that. And I'd like to thank Reverend Gerald and Rena. Thank you so much. So my quote for today, and I looked very, very diligently for a quote that I felt that would be impactful to all of us. Every mother leaves her footprints. I want you to think of that. Every mother leaves her footprints. What does that mean? Our mothers, the people that nurtured us, cared for us, they poured into us what they had. Many had, some may have had a lot of love to give us, and some may not have. But you know what? We all know you cannot give what you do not have. So we just want to let go of any kind of anger issues or things that we thought our parents should have done for us, and knowing that if they had it, they would have given it to us. So we know that mothers do tremendous amounts of things throughout the day and throughout the years of us taking care of our children. And I wrote down just a couple, and we can all add about 1 million more duties that women, mothers do every day. Our work never stops. As soon as that baby is born, until we leave this world or they leave this world, we are always attached. And scientists have proved that we're not, even though they cut the cord, we are still connected. They can still feel how we feel about them. When we think about our children, they're tuning in. So what are we thinking? Are we thinking positive things, uplifting things, motivating things? I want to encourage you to do that because they're hearing you. And you may have the facade of a smile like you approve of them, but it's a matter of the heart. People, everyone can see you for who you are because they can feel you. They can feel if you're honest when you say you love them, that you appreciate them, that you care for them. So just be mindful when I think of my children, when I think of anyone, let me put them in the highest light, for I know that I am sharing that energy with them. So let's get back to how much we do as mothers. Mothers, we are caregivers, we're housekeepers, we're the cook, we're the baker, we're the psychologist, we're the doctor, we're the educator, we discipline our children, we're the referee, we're the Uber driver. In my day, it was taxis when my mom was here, but right now it's Uber and Lyft. So we do all of that. And we do much, much more. We are everything to our children when they come in this world. They depend on us for everything. And we cannot ever give anyone what we have not given ourselves. The most important thing and the most powerful and impactful thing that a mother can give and share with her offspring is love and building our children's self-esteem. What is love? What is a mother's love? We know we are so selfless when it comes to our children. We know that we'll take our last dollar to buy them what they need, and we always put ourselves last. Our love is compassionate, it's empathetic, it's kind, it's generous. We use the muscle of understanding all the time because we want to really, truly understand our children as they grow into whom they've come to the planet to be. I always had a philosophy when I was raising my 3 daughters, and I don't claim to own any of this. I have always been a communicator and a prayer warrior, but I'm always asking the universe, how can I take care of my children? How can I take care of myself? What do I need to say to my children? How can I phrase it in a way that will not build a wall, meaning angry, conversations, getting on them about something that they did. I know that they just came into this world. They're learning just like I did. So how can I approach them in a very calm, loving way? And I can get a little maybe in their face and say, now, why would you do that? But my motive and intention is always to get them to think of what they're doing, why they're doing it. So when I'm not in the picture, when I've gone on, I've given them the tools that they need to look at their behavior and ask, is this something that is positive? Is this putting me on the road for my highest good? How am I using my life? Am I being honest with other people? Am I walking in integrity? Am I treating myself good? Am I expecting others to fill my cup? Am I going into the world with my cup half full and sometimes empty, looking for another person to fill my needs and for them to be everything on my dream list? I share with my daughters all the time, whatever you demand or whatever you expect from others, be that yourself. Give that to you. So again, what is love? It's commitment. It's commitment to our children. That no matter what day I have, I'm going to set aside time for you. When you ask me a question, I'm going to focus on what you've asked me. Why do we do that? We want them to know that they're valuable, that they're worthy. What they're sharing with us is very important. So I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I'm not going to take a phone call, and I'm going to listen to you. I'm showing them I'm fully committed. We're showing them right then, you're very important to me. I had you. You came through me. You're not of me. You came through a universal creative force that allowed me the opportunity and privilege to be the channel in which you came into this realm. My job is to be your overseer. It is to take the years that I may have been on the planet and maybe the things that my grandmother told me and my mother told me, and then I'm to pass it on to you. That's the footprint. Sharing the wealth of knowledge that we all have been privileged to hear from our aunts, our uncles, read books, go to school, learn more information to pass on. Mothers are protectors. We're like lions over our cubs, protecting them, wanting for them to just have the best life that they can possibly have. We know the storms. We know the disappointments are going to come. We know that there are going to be things that we might call a failure. But we want to protect our children for as much as we can. But one great thing about it, as many people know, we learn mostly from the missteps that we've taken, the heartaches, the struggles, the things that you didn't want to do, but you disciplined yourself to do them anyway. The passing of our parents, death, sickness, pain, all of those are opportunities for us to grow in our faith, to know that there is a power that is greater than us personally, that we can tap into and ask a question. What can I do right now to reach my daughter or my son's heart? What can I say at this moment instead of showing my anger? I might show a little disapproval or disappointment. But the game plan for me is always, how can I uplift you? How can I assist you to understand the importance of every decision that you're making. It is my responsibility as a mother to impart wisdom. All of our duty is that. Our job is to impart wisdom with our children, give them the tools to be able to operate in this world and function and become successful. And then after we pour all of that into our children, education, love, helping them feel valuable and nurturing them, then we release them. We know that we've done our job and we're going to mother at a different level. I may not be able to change your diapers anymore because you're not needing diapers. You don't need a bottle. But maybe you need my wisdom to guide you. And we're to give and to help our children have a vision for their life. Not mimicking ours. They're not our mini me's. They're their own person, created out of a consciousness that never duplicates, always creates another original. So most of the time, they're not going to be anything like us. But that's the beauty. It allows us to really up our knowledge and wisdom, just trying to figure out these beings that we're in charge of, to protect. And of course, giving our children the unconditional love, doing all the things that we need to do on a daily basis to boost their self-image, their self-esteem, their self-worth. It's a beautiful thing because the more they see you, they're going to mimic you. So what example are you setting? Are you setting a loving, caring, generous, nurturing involvement, connection with your children? Do they really know that you really love them and care for them? Or do they feel like they're a bother, that you don't have time for them? And if they think that, as they grow up, they will not rely on you, or they won't come and ask you for your opinion. All of that is done in the early years. You planting the seed, sharing with your children before they get out there and get other ideas, other belief systems. But you want them to know 100% that I'll always love you. And I want to just share a story about my mom. My mother was one of the most loving people that I know. Her mother was the same. My husband calls them angels. When I say my grandmother Ethel, he said she was an angel. And I think her husband thought so too, Grandpa Claude. My mother was a very loving person. I never heard her speak ill about another person's child. And she always told me this. She said, everyone is someone's child. And just like I wouldn't want someone to talk about my 7 children, I'm not going to do that to another person. So in my journey with my children, and I know many of you have chosen a spiritual path, knowing that we cannot do it ourselves. And we can have the village here on the planet, in your neighborhood, at the church, at the synagogue, at the temple. But we want to show our children how we walk, how we talk, how we roll. When things get tough, what do? When we pray that prayer, ask that request from that infinite intelligence, when we get up off our knees or stand up erect and ask for guidance, do you walk away looking sad, crying, like your prayer has not been answered? Or do you demonstrate to your children, I have put in my request, I know that there is a power greater than what I see in the mirror. And I know once I've asked, I know that it's already done. So now I'm going to walk like it is already done. And I want to share with you how valuable having that kind of constant consciousness and demonstrating that you do believe in a higher power, whatever you call it. My baby daughter, her name is Agina, she decided that she wanted to go back and get her master's. And she came and she asked me about it. And she had a very demanding job. And week to week, she could have different hours. And she came to me and she said, Mom, I'm just feeling like I should go and just get my master's. I've been wanting to do that for so many years. And as a mother, being the protector, I wanted to say, oh no, Agina, don't do that. Because how are you going to fit all of that curriculum in with the job that you have? And so I started down the road of maybe being a little worried and concerned, which I'm supposed to, I'm the mother. But then, like we all have done, we're teaching our children to listen to their own intuition, their gut feeling, their first mind. And I said, well, what do you feel, Agina? What do you think you should do? And she said, Mom, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. So I co-signed on her for that. Who would have, and she worked in LAX. Who would have ever thought a virus named Corona-19 would be in the picture? About after she got all of her items in that they needed, she was at her job for almost maybe a month, and they shut it down. It's given her over a year to concentrate on her schoolwork. She's got maybe 6 more months or less to go, because that's what we do as mothers. That's what we do when we are spiritual mothers. And we know that we know because we know that we know because in our time, when we had a question, when we couldn't see the way logically, we didn't even see a way out of certain situations in our lives. And I've been through many things, but what I always realized that I was not here with myself. And no matter when I couldn't turn to my husband or my brothers or my sisters or my mother or my father, I turned within and I asked, what can I do? What is my way? And my children saw me do that many times through loss of cars, houses, living in hotels, all of that. But they said, Ma, you just never give up. Because I believed what my father used to say. My father was a minister. And he would always say those stories about how people were caught between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's army, all of those stories, Daniel in the lion's den. But what was the meaning of the story? It was no matter what is happening to us, we are never to get involved and entangled in the drama, in the misery, in the pain. We are to rise like the phoenix out of the ashes. And that's what we can teach our children. And as we teach our children that, there will be no need for gangs anymore. There'll be no need for drugs anymore. Alcohol, all of those are for children, all of us that have felt empty or not enough inside. So we must go out and fill the emptiness. So all the things that we do as a mother, when we pour all of that into our children, when we allow them to know that you are the most important thing in my world, and my number one intention is to help you through this thing called life as long as I am here on this planet. Now, we all get there to that level of consciousness when we start realizing the power that we have. We have the power to imprint in our children by what we say. So what are you speaking to your children? What are you speaking to yourself, the most important person in your world? What is your inner dialogue? Remember, you can't give what you don't have and what you have not given yourself. So do yourself the biggest favor and your family. Start to heal you. Start to love you so unconditionally that any dialogue that is not uplifting you, motivating you, inspiring you, let that conversation go. You stay mindful throughout the day. How am I feeling? What am I thinking? Because I know in order for me to be an asset to my family, my friends, my neighbors, society, the world, I know it all begins with me. And when we pour that much unconditional love into our children, when they really know no matter what's going on, I know that I can share it with my mother and she will not judge me. And as for that story about my mother, that's who my mother was. No matter what her children did, we all knew she loved us. And my mother never judged us. Thank you, Myrtle. Thank you for never judging us, not one bit. She always just would, I could even see her face right now. She would look at that situation and she would immediately, how can I be of help? She didn't say that. She just moved into action. How can I help this daughter? How can I help this son? How can I help this grandchild? She showed me what unconditional love is. That's what we're to do. Show our children what unconditional love looks like. It's not painful. Love does not hurt. It does not seek to hurt anyone. Love is always seeking to find many ways of how I can show you I love you. Even if you disappoint me, what words can I say that will connect me to your heart, not build a wall? Because sometimes when you say things out of anger, it takes you years to repair that relationship. So just be mindful. I have another daughter, and she was demonstrating some behaviors that I didn't think was going to be a good path for her to take. And I take myself out of it because I know I'm going to be okay. But I want her to be okay. So I was getting ready to say some words and to approach that situation. And that voice, that first mind, that intuition said, hold on, wait. Don't say anything now, because what you're going to say is going to be out of anger. And what seed do you want to plant? What do you want to receive or get out of the conversation? Do you want more anger? Do you want to argue more? Do you want to prove your point? Do you have that desire to be right instead of the desire to love? And I listened to that voice, and I did not approach it. I did not address it at that time. And I'll never forget, I was at the top of my stairs and I was getting ready to go downstairs. And that voice said, okay, now is the time to go in and talk to her. And I'm so glad, and I'm glad for all of us when we're able to do that, when we're able to listen to that voice and stop working on the ego level, stop being offended, stop saying, I didn't raise you that way. I expect more from you. They know everything that we think. They know where we stand in politics. They know what our belief systems are. There's nothing more you can tell them that they don't already know. as they are maturing. But my daughter, Agina, would have never followed her gut feeling, her first mind, her intuition, if she hadn't seen that demonstrated. So when we're pouring all of this in, and if you're walking around your home praying, talking about God, and talking about how you trust in the Lord and God, and then when the storm comes, what do? Where do you go in consciousness? Now, it's all right to get a little shaky at first, but I want you to be mindful and say, you know, my children are watching. What now do I want to demonstrate to them? I may cry a little, but I'm going to rise like the sun in the morning. And I'm going to show them that I know that what I've requested has already been done. So I'm going to go into being grateful. And as we pour all of this love in our children, all of this compassion, all of this knowledge, we are imprinting them. We are placing our footprints in every part of their cell. And when we raise our children's self-esteem as we have raised ours, they will choose everything in their life from that foundation. They will choose their friends by the way they feel, their own self-value, their own self-worth. And if a friend is not going in the same direction that they're going to college, doing things that are going to be beneficial to them, and they see their friend taking a turn, guess what? They'll think more about themselves. They'll feel they deserve more. And they won't go with that friend. They'll make a wise choice. They'll make wiser choices about their career path, their education, where they live, and above all, their mates. Every decision that we make and our children make, it is based in how they feel about themselves, their self-worth, their self-image. And self-esteem is just what you think about you. We must see our children as confident, self-reliant, capable, prosperous, lacking in nothing, because your children came through you. They're not of you. And anytime you see anything less than awesome, wonderful, they feel it. And you lower their confidence in themselves because they're looking in your eyes and they say, well, if my mother doesn't believe I can do this, then how am I going to believe? See, we have to stand in the gap for people. We have to let them see through our eyes and feel through us. We believe that you can do anything you set your mind to do. Anything, any calling that you have on your life, any skill that you have, any talent that you have been given by an infinite power that knows no lack, limitation, small, average, mediocre. Anytime we look at people in that way, we are being very disrespectful. How can you look at something so perfectly made that came through you, that came from a universal energy that doesn't know anything about lack, poor, small, mediocre? How can we look at our offspring and feel like they don't have whatever they need to create the lives that they want, that they desire, no matter how high the bar is? And that's another story I'd like to share with you with my daughter, Regina. She failed math 9 times. And one day I asked her, I said, Regina, how did you do that? She said, Mommy, you know the plaque that you and Father had, my husband had a handwritten piece of paper on the wall in our office. And she said, when I would go into that office, I would see that quote, winners never quit and quitters never win. And she said, every time I thought about not going back and feeling bad and just say, oh, forget it. I won't graduate college. I'll just do something else because I got many talents. But she said she kept going back because of that quote. So even the quotes that you have in your house, you're imprinting your children. Every time you think of them, you're imprinting, you're transmitting a feeling. Do you believe in me, Mom? Do you really believe that I have it? And when you pour all of this into them, and when you realize who you are, when you realize that there's nothing that is withheld from you, you will know the truth about your children. So it's just a win-win all the way around. Every word we say, every word you're saying is making an imprint in your children's life, in their subconscious, in their conscious mind. We are literally creating and assisting our children to be who they are and who they will become. And we are the example. When we have faith in ourselves and have faith in them and demonstrate that on an ongoing basis, there's nothing that's going to grow from that but success, happiness, joy, healthy, well-balanced children, because you have balanced yourself. Us as mothers, we've gone through so much ourselves. But as we have that vision of our children, a clear vision of ourselves, we're raising our self-esteem, celebrating our lives, celebrating ourselves, taking care of ourselves. Our children will do the same. It's amazing. Whatever your habits are, your children will take on those habits. However your thinking pattern is, your children will take on that thinking pattern. So sometimes you have to do things not just for yourself, but live for a purpose greater than yourself. So I want you to be mindful of what you're saying, what you're feeling. How do you want to be in this world? And define what kind of mother you want to be. And many of us, our children are in another level of life. But you can start today. You can recreate a connection with your children. Make a pledge with yourself that no matter what my child does, I will never abandon them. I will never throw them away. I'll never tell them to get out. I will find another way to do what I need to do that is going to be positive, that's going to build, not destroy. And as you begin to vibrate on that, thinking about how you're thinking, being an observer, you'll be surprised. Some days that universal mind will tell you to call your child and they'll need to hear your voice. There's this one gentleman that I went to a high school in Los Angeles, and I gave this wonderful, what I thought was a very empowering, inspiring message. And the rest of the students were all in it. They were like, just hanging on every word. And there was this one gentleman, young boy, he was in high school. And he was just sitting there, not excited about anything I said. And even though I enjoyed the other children, but I said, they're already there. They're getting it. So I asked the universe, what could I say to this young man in the prime of his life that could change the direction of his life? And after I finished with my speak, I went over and I stood right in front of him. And this is what we all can do. Because see, you could be mother temporarily to someone, just nurturing someone. That's what mothers do. And we all can be that, no matter what the sex. So I stood in front of him. I looked him in the eye. He didn't want to look at me in my eye. So I just kind of stooped down to his level, trying to catch his eye. And I asked him, I said, how are you doing? And he said, I'm doing all right. And I said, are you going to do the exercise? Because I had the students do a wonderful you, their life. What does your wonderful life look like? And everybody was over there writing their goals and, fantasizing, using the power of their imagination and visualization. And this gentleman is just sitting there. So I just looked right at him and I kept trying to get his eye. And I asked the universe, what can I say to reach this young man? And I asked him, I said, do you have a mother? And he lifted up his head. He said, yes, I do. And I said, and do you have sisters and brothers? Yeah, I have a sister. He said, oh, that's great. And I said, what do you want to do? I don't know. I really don't have any goals. And I said, what does your mother do? She works really hard. Oh, here we go. Wouldn't you love to make something of yourself so you could retire your mother? The light bulb came on. He looked at me in the eye. I said, wouldn't you love to be an example for your younger sister? Wouldn't you love to do something with your life to impact your mother so she'll never have to work another day in her life when she's in her 60s or 50s? Wouldn't you love to retire her? He looked at me and he said, yes. That was the thing that motivated him. And that's what we must all remember. Sometimes it's difficult to be motivated just for your own gain. That's why we must live for a purpose greater than ourselves, allowing that infinite universe to use us any way it so pleases. At the grocery store, saying good morning, hello. I go to a bank and I didn't even know that I was having this kind of impact on this young lady. And one day I sat over to the side after I did my banking and my husband did his banking. And I went on in the car and my husband came out in the car and he said, Naimah, he said, that young lady asked me, is your wife like that all the time? And he said, yes, because sometimes, he gets a little tired of it. He says, Naimah, okay, I just called you to say hello. I didn't call you to have a motivational speech or inspirational speech. I said, but that's who I am. So anyway, he just said that the young lady said that no matter how depressed or how bad her day is going, just by me coming in, it impacts her. It inspires her. Now, all of you know that I'm a huggy person, but this young lady is behind a glass wall. I can't hug her. The only thing I do is just say, how are you doing today? And I call her by her name. How is your family? What are you going to do this weekend? Just showing an interest in other people's lives. You have no idea how that's impacting them. So in my closing, my beloveds, realize the power that you have. Realize the imprinting that you're placing in your children. That's going to go on for generations. It's going to affect your children and your children's children's children. And how many of us, our grandparents, prayed that prayer? I'm not praying just for my offspring, but I'm praying for my grandchildren and my great, 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 great grandchildren. And many of us are living and existing on those prayers, that set intention. So you're very powerful. Every word you're saying is imprinting your child. What do you want to build? What do you want to build? What do you want to grow in your garden with your beautiful child? Roses, daffodils, sunflowers. Because the weeds, you don't have to plant them. They come automatically. But the flowers you have to water. So all of us know that we're all impacting other people's lives. Be your most dynamic, wonderful, incredible, phenomenal self. That is how we all were made. Phenomenally made, uniquely special. There'll never be anyone like you ever again. Put your imprint in this world. So when you're gone, your grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren will benefit from all the things that you poured into the children that you have right now. Every word I say, am I building or am I destroying? And if I do criticize, I'm going to go by it a certain way that I know it's going to build my child, helping them know that I want the best for you, the absolute best. I am here as your overseer. You came through me because the universe thought that I had enough wisdom and knowledge to help steer you in your life until you are able to steer your own ship. And I'll always be here for you. So all of us mothers, celebrate this day, celebrate yourself, but beyond that, be that kind of mother that your child, when they look in your eyes, they only see a reflection that I know my child is more than capable. I know my child is wonderful, fabulous, incredible. And grow that garden. Build that building within them. Raise their self-value, their self-esteem, their self-worth. And again, please do that for yourself first. So you can do what that African proverb tells us. Mothers, we make a footprint in our children. So thank you very much for allowing me to share. I'm so grateful to be here with you today. And my intention was to set you free. You did what you knew how to do. But today is a new day and you can start anew. Learn to love yourself and then give that love to everyone else. So thank you so much.